pronounce that song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
episode 1155. Hi, I'm Mike Matthews, and I am broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. I just got out of bed and drove here to the Cafe Anyway, where I'm going to hang out with you for a little bit on this podcast thing. And today,
Mike's Daily Podcast.
We talked to Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. That should be fun, shouldn't it? I don't know.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Well, here's a little announcement that comes from me. You have only about a week if you want to try to Snapchat with me, because it's taking up space on my phone and it's making me angry. It's I could use that space
Mike's Daily Podcast
for more important things, like taking pictures of the moon. Let's take a look at the podcast picture after
Mike's
I sing the
Daily
final part
Podcast
of my song. Yeah! Okay, there we go. Here's the podcast picture.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The moon. The moon last night was huge. Just the biggest friggin' thing. And this is just up the street from where I live in Podcastro Valley. And I could see, oh, it's beautiful. I like the big moon. It causes all kinds of problems for the police, but it's so nice. Yeah, I'm going to get off of Snapchat. So about a week ago, there's a show on one of the talk stations I work for, and I was listening to it on my way home, and the lady that hosts it, she had on a really young 22, 23-year-old beautiful blonde from Princeton. Smart little intelligent thing that was like, oh yeah, I use Snapchat all the time. And then there was someone who was closer to my age in the room said, hey, on the radio, hey, I don't get Snapchat. It doesn't make any sense. And the millennial said, oh, it's not supposed to make sense to you. You Gen Xers and baby boomers aren't supposed to get it. Only us millennials. It's fine-tuned to us. Because you're used to swiping, left? We're all about swiping right. I don't know, something like that. Look, I just walked in. Mike, it's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
Snapchat, that sounds like something a turtle would do. It'd snap and bite your finger off and then try and chat with you.
That's very Alice in Wonderland there.
What?
You ever eaten turtle?
No. I'll leave those things alone. They're just minding their own business, getting through life slow.
Do you get through life slow?
Well, I am kind of different from my fellow Southern brethren in that I talk a little bit faster than them, but...
Yeah, Mike, we talk fast. We've been influenced by California and y'all. Yeah, when I worked in Alabama, we'd have our manager meetings, and I was not the only Californian at the manager meetings. Look who else just walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy.
Shut up. Yeah, I would be sitting at the meeting with this other Californian. Sorry, brewmaster.
What?
Oh, he didn't even notice. And we'd be talking fast, and the rest of the, native Alabamans would be like,
what are you saying? Huh?
And then I had to... Talking slow, so scary. I would have a piece of paper and I'd take notes. People at my job in Fremont laugh at how many notes I take, but I do a lot of different shows, and each show has specific tailored things that the host wants, and so I write down those things, and so I don't have to keep being reminded. Some of the shows I don't do for long periods of time in between, and so I need a refresher, so I'll look at my notes. But I was taking notes back then at the meetings. I'd write down words people said, and then I'd be like, look that up, and then find out later, oh, that's a town. They were saying the name of a town, but they weren't saying it the way it was spelled. Like, They have a town called, it's spelled like Arab, but they say Arab. And why there is an Arab in Alabama, I have no idea, but that's where... Actually, the guy that transported my car from Alabama back to California, he was, he put it on a big truck. He was from Arab, and it said it on his truck. And he stopped his truck right in the middle of a busy street in San Leandro on the Welling. Stopped his truck to unload my car. I was freaking out. I'm like... Oh, and not only that, but he kept calling, this was back when I was married, kept calling my ex-wife over and over again. Yeah, now, how do I get to y'all? What? Yeah, I bet he had an interesting experience in California. I hope he did. Was a nice guy, but parking in the middle... But I should say that's actually de rigueur, not to use my hoity-toity French word, or maybe that's an Arabic word, who knows. But yeah, it's... crazy in the Bay Area how truck drivers just stop in the middle of a busy street and will unload stuff. Like, they don't even... Like, they've got this... I don't know, did Jerry Brown say... Or George Brown? I don't know who George Brown is, but... Did Jerry Brown say, hey, it's okay. You could stop your truck anywhere you want. It's all right. I mean, at least pull over to something that looks like a parking space. Get out of the way of the road. My gosh, yeah. And it's not just a whining white man show today. No, there's some other interesting things. Like, I'd like to talk about the whining white men of the Republican Party, and about how the biggest whining white man of them all, to Donald Trump, is, how he yells about crooked Hillary all the time. But what about crooked Christie? Let me go over here to my computer that I just stole from the Brewmaster.
Hey, I was using that.
And I won't say what you were using it for, wink wink.
I was watching porn.
You were not.
No, I wasn't, but I thought that'd be a funny joke. Oh boy, I make the earth bear.
You sound like a frog. He's sad. Okay. I'm sorry, Brewmaster. It's okay.
I can't help the way I talk.
It's all right.
Ribbit.
So, $30 million in tax debt owed by casinos founded in New Jersey by Donald Trump was, it went away, was settled for $5 million. And this is, it was $30 million, and this all happened when Chris Christie took office. Some people think Chris Christie was involved. He excused the debt, and, well, not completely, but Christie denies any involvement. That's so crooked! Oh, wait. Now I see here it was $38 million. What is it? But it all happened apparently around when Chris Christie took office in New Jersey. But hey, I'm part of the liberal left-wing media, so what do I know? And finally, I would just like to ask about NBC, and they're showing the Olympics right now. We have the Olympics on at my work. We're watching it a lot, just trying to keep abreast of the breaststroke and all the other events. Oh, I really enjoyed the one with the two guys rowing. And they follow along, and you see behind them the beautiful scenery of Rio. I love that. It was awesome. Oh, and women's beach volleyball. But they were talking about well, here's my question. In the morning, you've got the Today Show, right? After that, somewhere later in I think it's still part of the Today Show, because it looks like they're still at Rio. There's a guy that talks to Al Roker who looks like he's from a boy band. And I want to know what boy band he's from. But there's that guy, why do you still have that 90s boy band look, sir? That's what I want to ask him. Oh, look at that tree of many fruits at the Children's Discovery Museum. I'm watching on the TV that we also have here at Cafe Anyway, which I stole from the Brewmaster. But he's not talking to me anymore.
Ribbit.
That was not called for. Let's go And check out the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, where frogs proliferate. And no, it's more pictures proliferate, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. It's the podcast pictures, the past ones that you can see of moons and my dog, Basil the Boxer, who has done many a fun pose completely naturally, because that's how dogs do it. And there's also the whole thing with the if you want to help us out through the Amazon link, click on that and buy whatever it is you're going to buy. It helps us out. If you're shopping on Amazon and you just go through the Amazon link first, and it doesn't change the way you shop, and it helps support the show. There's also the link to PayPal. If you'd like to donate to the show, you'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters, including Benita. Yeah, Mike, I really like when the Brewmaster sounds like a frog.
I don't sound like a frog.
Yeah, you do. Bye, frogs are cool. And there's also all the past interviews and everything at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And now, a segment that speaking of dogs,
the word of dog.
As I was doing my little walk yesterday with Basil the Boxer, I ran into some neighbors. Now, they have a dog, and they are like a lot of dog owners. That they're wonderful neighbors. I was speaking to them quite a while, and they told me, you got to go see the moon. So part of the reason why we have the podcast picture today is because of them and their suggestion to go see the moon. But I think they more said to the moon, Mike. I don't know, it was sort of a honeymooners reference. But they were talking to me, and the moon is involved with that as well. Well, where was I? I got all confused with what I was... Oh, dogs. Yes, so they own a dog, a beautiful bulldog, I think is what she is, Lucy. And this dog is fantastic. I had the chance. Super nice, super friendly with people. Apparently has some issues with dogs that walk by the house. She'll bark at those dogs and stuff. Now, my house it's kind of difficult for my dog to see out in what's going on outside. There's a lot of distractions for a dog. It's important to realize that a dog, one of their main purposes is defense, right? Shepherds use the dogs to keep, other animals from coming and stealing the sheep, or they also keep the sheep from wandering too far away. But they've got this sort of police mentality, dogs. They sort of police your property. And I find that my dog, for example, is quiet. Basil the Boxer hardly ever barks. In fact, that bark is actually from when somebody rang the doorbell, and I happened to be recording at the time at my house, and I caught some of my dog barking like that. So that's the important thing to remember that about dogs, and you can't really turn that off. You have to harness that, because that's the good thing about dogs. Well, that, and they're loyal and affectionate, and they're great companions. They get you out of the house to walk. Wait, am I going on to a list of all the good things about dogs? They're fun. They can help you meet women, sort of. And they're what? They just add a lot. They're happy to see you when you come home. My dog, I don't know if your dog does this, if you have a dog, but my dog does the thing, since he's a boxer and his tail was removed before I got him. He was 1.5 years when I got him. I've had him for 6 years now. So yeah, he's coming up on 8. And he shakes his butt, and I hear boxers do that. They do this dance. It's kind of funny. And that's just so amusing. So are dogs just for amusement? Maybe. Are they for protection? Maybe. But the thing about dogs is, too, they like people. They are people. They're not lonely, solitary creatures. And that's why dog parks are important. And, there's a whole... You should go online if you're going to go to a dog park and see all the do's and don'ts of what you should do at dog parks. Be ready. Don't be afraid of dog parks, but just be aware. And they just need to be social. I don't think Lucy is really socialized, and I told her owners this. I don't think she's really socialized to be around other dogs. Around people, she's fine, but other dogs. So I told them to work on that. There, we'll see. But Basil, my dog, has been around so many different dogs. In fact, I was walking with a friend of mine yesterday, Leilani, who is well known in Castro Valley amongst dog owners because she has like several and is very super kind and will walk your dog if you need someone to walk your dog. She does it. I don't know if she charges or whatever, but she's always got a lot of dogs with her walking. And just all her dogs are socialized. Even if the dog is from outside, her normal dogs, they just immediately socialize and everything, and it's cool. That's what they do. And if you've ever watched Cesar Millan, he does the same thing. I think we're done with the word of dog for today. Let's go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. So remember, dogs are social. They want to be social. They want to protect, and they want to... what was the other thing? Eat. They want to eat. For sure. But they don't, if the ones that get all messed up, I think, are the ones that have something lacking in one of those areas, and oh yes, I forgot the main thing. They need consistency. They totally love consistency. My dog gets up, since I get up at 4 a.m., my dog gets up at 4 a.m. and knows that I'm going to feed him right then. I'm fine with, on the weekend, when I'm usually going to be sleeping in, I'm fine with him waking me up at 4 a.m. and I'll go and feed him, go right back to sleep. Because I want that consistency. I want him to feel that consistency. My dog seems to be very even-keeled because of that. Did I just make a boat reference? It's time to wrap up the show when I make a boat reference. Well, thanks for listening to the show. Hey, if you listen to us on Facebook, through any of the Facebook links I post, that's awesome. Let me tell you where to find me on Facebook. We have a Mike's Daily Podcast page, and there's also my account, which I've had for, I think I started Facebook back in 2009. That's Mike Talks is where you can find me. Facebook.com/Mike Talks. Don't go to the other Mike Matthews. He's the fit one. Really fit. Freaking fit. Jerk. I think he does a podcast too. I'm the only Mike Matthews that should have a podcast, dang it. And also I'm on Instagram at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. I was discussing with Marco. We haven't done a Marco Minute in a while. But I was discussing with Marco about how Facebook, you may post something and people will never see it if it doesn't fit their algorithm that moves things to the top stories. Because when you go to Facebook, it defaults to top stories unless you move it to newest posts on your own, which you have to do every single time because it won't default to that. But yeah, Instagram is what's happening, what people are posting right now. I kind of like that thing instead of the stupid algorithm with Facebook. He's like, I may not see any of your posts ever, or it might be like 4 days from now, but it's telling me that it just came out now. Isn't that annoying? Yes. Rivet. Next show, it will be Madame Rootabega, Valentino, Bison Bentley. Enjoy the moon tonight.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!